area. Hello and welcome to round 7 of Grand Prix Dallas-Fort Worth. Marie Bartholdi here in the booth, joined by Kenji Igashira, heading down to our feature match area. Two players here, both at 5-1. This is a win and in for both of them to make day 2.
And remember, there's still another round technically of the day 1 break. So even if these players lose this round here, they can win their next round and still make day 2.
We've got Sam Pardee here, currently ranked 17th in the entire world on the right side of your screen, and nickname Zizzy Yang there on the left. Kicking things off with the Llanowar Elves for Yang. And a few Saberlings that have chosen to go on a migration for Sam Pardee.
Yeah, turn 2 Divination's got to feel pretty darn good.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Were you happy to see Divination back in the set, Kenji?
I mean, it's okay. It's a card draw spell.
You're more of an attacker than a drawer?
I'm just saying, as far as, like, if you want to give me a card draw spell, give me opportunity, you know?
All right. You have some standards here. Tetsuko here hitting the table. Creatures you control with power toughness 1 or less can't be blocked.
This card is very annoying, especially in conjunction with Saperlings or Keldon Overseer type cards. Like, it just can push through a ton of damage, and Tetsuko unblockable itself as well.
Yeah, you can do a lot of pretty fun stuff with that card.
Yeah, I think it's just a very solid card overall. I think it's gone way up in value, in my opinion.
Yeah, I've had an opponent play several Voltaic Servants, stuff like that against me, and swinging in for like 5 points of unblockable thanks to Tetsuko.
Well, you see it's doing double time work here. It's allowing the Llanowar Elf to get in for 1 point of damage for Yang, but it's also holding off the 1/1s from Pardee.
Stronghold Confessor here from Sam Pardee. We have a 3/3 menace creature. That card has been one that I'm not going to say it overperformed or whatever, but it's exceeded my expectations, I'll say that.
It's fine. It's like a 4-mana 3/3 menace is definitely just fine territory. Oftentimes you're not running out on turn 1, or if you do, you normally have a plan with it, say Song of Free Elise.
Speaking of.
Well, there you go.
Yang's got one of his own here. Let's see if we can make a lot of mana and dump out our hand. Instead, we're just going to get in for 1, at least for now, with that Llanowar Elves, and pass the turn. There's a look at Song of Freyalise on your screen. Definitely one of the more powerful sagas.
Oh, certainly. It is a little higher variance, as you would like a large amount of creatures before you actually play it out, or at least a 1 or 2 creatures on the battlefield already. And that way you can ramp into some other creatures before the ultimate does go off that 3rd lore counter.
Stronghold Confessor is able to swing in here. 4/3.
Yang having access to 7 mana currently.
Yes. Swinging in, attempting to for 2 unblockable. We're going to make a dark bargain over on Sam Pardee's side of the battlefield.
Kind of be a big blowout here if he found a fungal. Oh, no, wait, that doesn't work. Never mind. I was going to say fungal infection kill the Tetsuko, but no. And then block the Llanowar Elf, but he would just kill the Llanowar Elf, of course. And Tetsuko having 3 toughness doesn't actually do that. Whoa!
Well, hello, friend. Zahid, Jin of the Lamp hits the table for Yang.
Yeah, last few rounds we've seen quite a few Zahid.
We have.
I mean, that's not surprising. In the later stages of the tournament, you're going to see the better decks, with more powerful rares such as Zahid there.
Settle the Score, however, is going to deal with that Jin.
This is really awkward for Yang, as the Song of Free Elise is actually going to stop the Tetsuko from...
You're right.
Yeah, from making either of the current creatures unblockable.
Wow, that's interesting. The Black Blade reforged there for Pardee. And here we go. Chapter 3 will pop off the Song of Freyalise. +1/+1 counter on each creature you control. They gain Vigilance, Trample, and Indestructible until end of turn.
Yeah, Yang's going to get a free roll attack with both of his creatures, as they are Vigilance and Indestructible for the turn. So he is going to push through 2 damage, the same amount of damage if they were both unblockable in the first place. But like with Sam already on 6 mana and a Blackblade on the battlefield.
Ooh, how about this?
Oh
Invola's Clutches is going to take control of that Blackblade Reforged.
And that's actually the perfect time to steal the Blackblade, because if you steal it while it's already equipped to one of your opponent's creatures, it doesn't become unequipped. Simply what happens is the equipped creature is going to gain the power and toughness based on the number of lands you control as the new owner of it. But but you're still going to have to move it yourself eventually, so that's perfect time for Yang.
Sapperling Migration here for Pardee. So my question is what he might want to do with that Blackblade.
I mean, he's just stealing it so it doesn't hurt him.
Yeah, there's nothing.
I don't think he's going to be equipping it anytime soon unless he has absolutely nothing else to do with his mana. He's actually a little bit on the back foot now just because Sam has so many creatures.
But it's so cheap on Tetsuko.
Right, and it is, but like if he has multiple creatures, he's going to want to do that instead, you know.
Right. Skittering Surveyor here hits the table for Yang. Skits, gonna go find a land.
Yeah, it's funny when you have things like Blackblade and Tetsuko. It's just, we call them non-bows, right? But
right.
Still a pretty scary threat. On the upside, if Yang does equip Tetsuko here, it's going to make it very hard for Sam to attack with even the Confessor anymore.
Skittering Surveyor, an early favorite card among a lot of players.
And the Surveyor now unblockable, at least.
Yes. Yeah, we've seen a couple of interesting nombos so far in this game. All right, so Tetsuko does get equipped with the Blackblade, able to swing in, but just able to be chumped quite easily by a Sapperling.
Yeah, not an obligated block by Sam, but taking that much damage is very risky. So it's currently getting, what, +7/+7?
Right. No big deal.
A 9/13 Tetsuko. Oof.
In comes the team here for Pardee. Double block on the Confessor.
All right, well, that's not exactly half of Yang's life total, so that was actually a good...
Oh, Krosan Druid kicked here from Pardee. We'll gain 10 life, thank you. Just a little 2/3.
Yeah.
But if you kick it, can really be a kick in the teeth if you're trying to be aggressive.
One of the high power ones, right, or high variable ones.
Sure.
Should you be able to kick it. 2/3, okay on its own, but late game top deck, if you have extra mana, why not? 10 life can often turn into multiple turns worth of attacks.
This is Yang from New York City. Actually works as a software engineer. Started playing in GPs last year. Finished his first team sealed he ever did, 10-4. Pretty nice finish. There's a Yavimaya Sapherd joining the team for Yang.
Yeah, he's got some extra blockers now, but it doesn't take much for Sam to be able to push through here. And now if you're Yang, you have to imagine what kind of cards would Sam be splashing for. You haven't seen any red cards yet. Well, it could be things like Fight with Fire. It could be things like Sheevan Fire. Could just be like Darigaz, for instance.
I hope it's Darigaz.
Well, Darigaz would be lethal.
There's Deathbloom Thallid there for Pardee. Fingers crossed, Darigaz, come to us. I just love that it gets exiled with an egg counter.
It's so awkward for Yang here because he needs to start attacking and keep the pressure going, but it's like Sam has so many creatures to block with. I guess the reverse is true is also for same case for Sam. He has to imagine, well, what kind of red cards might Yang have that on the splash that he hasn't seen yet. And with access to multiple red sources, it could definitely be a Fight with Fire kicked.
There's Academy Journey Mage.
Oh, it is Darigaz!
Oh, it was Darigaz!
Wow!
Wow!
Yeah!
Oh, yes! Oh, I'm so excited. Sam Pardee taking down that game in a very magnificent fashion with a giant flying trample hasty dragon.
Well, and now you know why it was so important to get Yang down to 7.
Yeah. He's like, look, I need your life to be total to be exactly 7 right about now. No reason. No reason at all. That was really cool.
The old Jund Nation, huh?
Junned him out, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, looks like he had a good sapling theme going on. Pardee did. Wouldn't be surprised to see a Slimefoot sitting in there somewhere.
You're a big Slimefoot fan, Kenji.
I'm going to keep talking about Slimy. Slimy's just too good.
Is Slimefoot your favorite legendary creature in this set?
No, I think Raph is.
Raph's so good.
Yeah.
I've played against the kind of legendary historic Raph deck, which is just playing a lot of different colors and then all of the creatures, all of the legendary creatures. Pretty cool stuff that you can make work.
And Marshall and Paula were talking about it a few rounds ago. Some of the cards in this format create an interesting sub game.
Right,
you know?
a mini game.
A mini game. So I said mini game. Planeswalkers like Teferi do that effect, but Slimefoot's definitely another one. Like, if you don't deal with this, then you're going to lose.
Right. Dariga is another one of those creatures. Well, it creates less of a mini game and more of just an end game.
Can I deal with it now?
More of a GG situation. Sam Pardee, 2 Pro Tour top 8s, 13 Grand Prix top 8s with 2 wins. Portland in 2013, Detroit 2015 with the team. Must be cool for Yang at this moment to be doing so well here on day 1 at Dallas Fort Worth, having just started playing GPs the past year. Wonderful accomplishment by him.
Getting some Oracle text there.
Always call a judge if you're not sure.
Yeah, why not?
Even Sam Pardee does it. I should make a little PSA with like the more you know star going across the screen. Hey, if you're not sure, call a judge. It's somebody in a Sears portrait studio.
What?
You know, because it was always in a PSA from the 80s. It's always a famous actor in front of just a plain background that's giving you some like life advice. The more you know.
You're going to get Sam Pardee to do it?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be Sam Pardee. Like, hey, if you have a question about what a card says, call a judge. It's called Oracle text. The more you know.
Thinking of the Michael Jordan, more like, stop, call a judge, get some help, you know?
This is your brain on Darigas. I have some ideas for my next video.
Oh, no. All right, so Yang was playing blue, red, green. So he's going to have some access to cards that can potentially deal with Darigas, at least for a few turns.
Three turns.
There's nothing truly great that deals with Darigas, maybe say for deep freeze. Issue with that being is that you can't really afford to attack with larger creatures unless you're going to kill the opponent very quickly. Otherwise, you know, then Darigas dies, does the whole egg thing.
I mean, does it enter your mind that you try and make any sideboarding decisions to kill a party quickly?
Actually, I guess Darigas would lose all abilities if you froze it, right? Well, let's see the exact wording on Darigas. If Darigas reincarnated would die instead. No, I guess it would lose all abilities, so deep freeze would be. Oh, okay.
I would get it. Freeze the dragon.
Kind of funny that in the old lore, Darigas died by running into a volcano.
Oh, really?
As in the old art with Terminate from Plane Shift.
Oh.
But now, like, the best answer for Darigas in this format is to freeze him.
Looks like Darigas has really been through it all. I love this set, too, not only because a lot of it's really cool and fun to play with, but having a chance to learn the original Dominaria lore, kind of go back and relive what happened, has been really a lot of fun. You know, I didn't know anything about Urza or Mishra or any of that stuff. But now I do, and it's just really entertaining. All right, here we go. Game 2. We are underway. Yang choosing to be on the play here. Kicking things off with the Mountain versus Sam Pardee's Forest. Turn 2, Tetsuko for Yang.
Yeah, and that's probably going to chip in for a decent amount of damage unless Sam has like the sapling migration again.
There we go.
All right, well, maybe Yang wants to hold back the Tetsuko now. As trading 1 damage for 2, not generally the best race.
All right, well, Tetsuko choosing to get in there for 1.
Probably has like a sap herd or something to follow up then. Oh,
Ooh, nothing.
Right.
2 saplings come in, knocking Yang down to 18.
Electrolyze. Darn.
It's got to be something, right?
No, it could just be that he understands I need to kill you before you get Darigaz.
Okay, sure. Yeah, that's fair. Shiv and Fire here taking care of the sap herd.
Yeah, but even then, that's not that great. It's not a hugely relevant 2-2, and it's still left a 1-1 on the battlefield after the fact.
Yeah, Yang choosing to hang back this turn, throws it back over to Pardee. No attack.
Notably, though, Sam doesn't have his swamp yet. We know that he's only splashing for the red, so unless he made some large sideboard changes, we might just see a pretty lackluster few turns from both of these players.
Croson Druid here for Sam. Just a 2-3. Back over to Zizzy Yang. Llanowar Elves is going to be the play here. All right, back over to Pardee. Well, he's 2 power of unblockable creatures at the moment.
Mm-hmm.
Give me a Jousting Lance.
Both players stuck in their own ways, although Yang now got out of that mana issue. Hit his 4th land and 5 total mana now. Sam's still stuck off of black. And this is the time that Yang needs to capitalize.
Cloud Reader Sphinx.
Good way to start.
3/4 Scry 2. The art on the Sphinx also reminds me a lot of older Magic art. Back in the original days of Dominaria.
Yeah, another pass from Sam.
Wow. Cloud Reader Sphinx able to hit the red zone, chipping in for 3 here. There's been no play from Sam for 2 turns in a row now.
Chaos Seal players, your event is ready. Please make your way to the parents board. Chaos Seal players.
There was a player in the feature match earlier that asked, who wasn't on camera, do I have to play with my lands behind my creatures? Even though I'm not on camera? Yes, that is the new rule. Fight with Fire here will take down the Sphinx.
All right, so Sam playing both, or at least 2 of the splash cards that we were talking about prior. Darigaz and that Fight with Fire. Definitely cards we're splashing for.
Let's get 3 more saplings on the table for
Sure.
Yang.
Pretty darn good with Tetsuko.
I like this. 5 points of unblockable damage if he wants it.
Yeah, and now I would start jamming for sure. Like, Sam's been missing on one of his main colors.
Right.
Turn on the gas. Put the pressure on.
In for 4.
Yeah, try to kill him before he can unlock the rest of the cards in his hand that are probably gummed up.
Pardee down to 12. Yang on 13 there. Sam Pardee attacks right back, makes 2 more saplings.
Yeah, and even though Sam, is only 1 man away from kicking that migration, he knows that he's in a racing situation, and if he doesn't find a swamp, he's going to want to have cast that migration just for 2 saplings instead of 4. But another Spore Swarm and then return from Yang. I mean, that's a 2-turn clock on Sam now.
This is crazy. I love it.
He's definitely a sapling party.
I get it. In situations like this, Kenji, are you tempted to leave 2 of your creatures back or whatever since it doesn't change the math?
You have to think about what could kill you on the backswing, something like a mass pump effect, wild onslaught. Could I die to that card
Sure.
if I attack with anything? And the answer is, yeah, maybe I could, Sam has, let's see, 6 creatures, one of them being a 2-power, so yeah. Had Yang had no blockers and Pardee with the wild onslaught, that would end it, but he had multiple cards to play there, and it looks like that's probably going to do it.
Yeah, Sam Pardee with an Eviscerate stuck in hand. No black mana.
I mean, a Shivan Fire would instant speed deal with the Tetsuko and allow some blocks on the Saprolings,
Sure.
but Yang's got to think that it's very unlikely Pardee has it.
Yep, and Sam Pardee is going to scoop him up. We are all tied up here. Zizi Yang. Sam Pardee, 1 game apiece here in round 7. Grand Prix Dallas Fort Worth battling Dominaria Limited down here in Texas. How do you like my southern accent, Kenji?
It was an accent.
I'll never hide my true Minnesotan roots. Is that what you're saying?
Exactly. Precisely.
You wouldn't be tricked enough to come have some lemonade on my porch?
This has gone too far.
Okay. I really like what Yang is doing with his deck, though. It's very creative. Obviously, you need Tetsuko to make it really sing. I'm not sure if he's running any other cards like Wild Onslaught, like you mentioned, in his deck at all. But
I mean, in a lot of decks, you just want the early blockers. He showed at least 1 flyer, right? The Cloud Reader Sphinx. So sometimes the early game, getting gummed up is a good way to allow your later game flyers or other large creatures to get there.
that was pretty cool to see it in action, though, with Tetsuko.
Yeah, I mean, Pardee there was stuck off of one of his main colors, which really allowed Yang to capitalize. But, I mean, that's how Magic goes sometimes,
I'm sorry I messed with Texas, everybody.
Uh-oh, is chat yelling at you now?
There was one rule, do not mess with Texas, and I violated it. Oh, yeah, sweet tea. That's what I should have said. Gosh darn it.
This looks like minimal sideboard changes for both players. They had a good idea after game 1 of what they wanted to do. And I mean, well, Yang could have access to something like Radiating Lightning.
Ooh.
That'd be very good in this particular matchup. I think that's often a good sideboard card versus a lot of the decks. There are plenty of token producers, Saproling producers, even like 1/1 soldier producers. That a card like that is, while not always best in your main deck, can do some really powerful things out of the board.
Radiant Lightning, somebody cast that against me when I had a bunch of Saprolings out after I had gone on plenty of migrations. And I was like, that's a card? This is, I think, at the pre-release. Oh, yes. Yes, indeed. Very strong. Here in round 7, we are currently in the win and in, meaning if these players win, they're guaranteed a spot in day 2. Pretty excellent spot to be here at this Grand Prix.
Mm-hmm.
Early on in the Dominaria Limited format, a lot of people here, practicing it out, hoping to draft, getting ready for the Pro Tour. Like Pardee is, I imagine. All right, and we are underway here for Game 3, the deciding game here in this round 7 match between Pardee and Yang. Let's head down. Blackblade Reforged is a play here for Pardee. Very, very powerful card, but requires legendary creatures to really make it its best. Deathbloom Thallid here is the follow-up from Pardee. No play yet from Yang, who just has 3 forests. Well, this will get him out of it. Skittering Surveyor will find another land here for Yang.
The more I play with the Deathbloom Thallid, the more I'm impressed with it. It just often trades with any other 3-drop. I mean, sure, there are plenty of 2-power creatures that, you don't love trading away with it, but you get some value on the back end as well. There are enough synergies in this format. Omnivore, other saplings.
Right.
Stuff like that is just, I don't know.
And I mean, having the body left over after it dies, too,
Yeah.
is relevant.
Could also just be black doesn't have many other great 3-drops.
Croson Druid here for par D. Yang was able to search up an island with that Surveyor. Five mana now here for Yang.
Did he put the land into play with the Surveyor?
Oh. I'm not sure.
He cast the Surveyor with 3 green mana, right?
Correct.
Maybe did somebody miss a land, or maybe Sam chose to be on the draw.
That could be.
I just want to make sure we have everything right here.
Yes, because the Surveyor does put the land in your hand.
Okay, so it was on turn 4. All right. Yeah, Song of Freelies could do some great work here. We know Yang has now 2 Spore Swarms. Again, a little bit out of the non-bow Tetsuko with the Song of Free Elise, but...
Well, Sam Purdy has had enough of Tetsuko.
Yep.
Fiery Intervention will send her to the graveyard. A very nice flexible card there. Being able to destroy artifacts as well.
Yeah, and I don't have Party's deck list in front of me, but it looks like he's splashing for more than just a few red cards, right? We've seen now Darigaz, Fight with Fire, and Fiery Intervention. Ooh.
Ooh, how about Multani?
Okay.
This card is a house, Kenji.
Yeah, the problem is if Sam has like an Eviscerate here, which I think he does, he can just really put Yang on the back foot because it takes so long to get the Multani back from the graveyard and recast it at this point in the game. Like you can see Yang preserving his life total.
Yeah.
I mean, and that makes sense, even though it really hurts the Song of Free Elise, which I think he would have.
So sad.
I think at that point I would have just waited on the Song, rather on the chump block with the Skittering Surveyor.
Right,
like,
just to get something out
exactly.
of it.
10 versus 7 is not that much different, and having a 2/3 here is actually hugely relevant. You know, plus Sam is 1 mana away from equipping the Black Blade, which means you probably want an extra blocker here anyways.
Academy Journey Mage is going to send the Deathbloom Thal back to Party's hand.
Well, Yang does have 2 mana open, so he can return the Multani at end of turn and then play a land and recast it. We'll see if Party actually wants to offer the trade here. I think Yang takes it. Because remember, with 1 more land drop, any of Party's creatures turn into huge threats.
Deathbloom Thallid, Elfheim Druid, Blood Tallow Candle here for Party. And that is 7 mana.
Mm-hmm. And a nice thing for Sam here is that the Elfheim Druid is not actually a defender. It's an 0/2, but he can equip the Black Blade to it and make it a very potent attacker.
Why not? All right, so we have returned Multani to hand.
Yeah, but I mean, just
Yeah,
casting out
so
Multani is
slow.
not even good enough here. Like Multani's only a 6/6 because there's only 6 lands on Yang's side of the battlefield. It doesn't look like there are any in the graveyard. Party can just equip the Black Blade to the Thallid, and that'll be a minimum 9-power creature, right? 1 more land would mean Yang would have to chump block. Okay, but here's that in Bolas's clutches.
Same play we saw earlier in game 1. Going to take that Black Blade.
Yeah, Yang's got to hope that Party's out of gas.
All right, here we see a Caligo Skin Witch, and it's going to be kicked. Yang's going to discard 2 lands.
I mean, Yang will have a very quick clock. Multani plus an equipped Black Blade is a lot of damage. Remember, Multani getting pumped up by lands in the graveyard as well as the lands you have on the battlefield. So
Oh, yeah.
currently would be a 9/9 without the blade.
All right, here's Multani.
Okay,
And it does have trample.
right. Yeah, Multani is quickly looking like a one-shot clock here. But, you know, Sam can attack. Yang might block. He doesn't have to. But having that Blood Tallow Candle means that if he's able to kill the Multani again, it's really hurting Yang's progression. It's just so big, though. Oh, I guess he couldn't even do that, right? Because the Thalid plus the candle is only total 8. And now Multani is just the largest creature you've ever seen. 16-16, if I'm counting correctly.
Gosh. Oh, there's another land.
So 17. Oh, no. Yeah.
9, 10. Okay.
18 now, right, because it gets +2/+2 for every land now.
Oh, sick.
Yep. So it's 10 from the 8 lands on the battlefield
Right.
and 2 in the graveyard, and then 8 additional from the lands on the battlefield from the Black Blade. Holy moly.
This is a huge tree. Sam Pardee is at 1.
And, you know, he's playing to his outs. We know he has, what, a Darigaz still in deck somewhere?
And Yang is at 7, but he plays this Academy Drake.
So this is end of turn. Sam's thinking about his lines. He might need to use the candle here to take care of the Drake and maybe top deck something.
Right.
Let's see. A Fight with Fire would also work because he can
That's
kick it.
true.
He has the Druid to do so.
Oh, just 2 lands in hand for Pardee.
Holy moly.
Oh, that was crazy. Yang takes down that match 2-1. Wow. Can you imagine if he had drawn a Darigaz? I would have just flipped this table with excitement. That was really cool there to see that enormous Multani.
Yeah, I mean, I think Sam did everything just about as well as he could have. You know, Multani is just a house.
Some pretty cool stuff happening in our feature match area here in round 7. We've got more Magic for you on the way. Steve Rubin versus Calvin Odom coming up, as well as some more great stuff down there from round 7 here at GP Dallas Fort Worth. And there's just another example of something insane that we've seen happen this weekend. It seems to happen every round with this set, which is definitely one of the reasons that I like Dominaria. I like to see crazy stuff like that happen.
Yeah,
on camera.
Multani's just one of the best cards in the format. Like, they're barring any exile effect, which there are some, of course.
Yes.
It's just so hard to deal with, and any game that goes longer, you know, it makes it that much harder for the opponent to win if you have it on the battlefield. So.
All right, we'll be back with Time Walk Magic after this. Hello and welcome back to the desk here. Maria Bartholdi joined by Kenji Igashira, and we have some time walk magic for you from round 7, so let's take a look. Steve Rubin here on the left side of your screen versus Kelvin Odom, who we saw earlier today, Kenji.
Very powerful red-green, I think splashing Slimefoot.
We're going to kick things off for Steve with a short sword. It's the battle of the equipment here. Jousting Lance for Kelvin. Knight of Grace here for Steve Rubin. Definitely one of my favorite 2-drops in the format. Squee is going to be the play here for Odom.
Oh, that's right. We saw Kelvin going off with Sieging and Squee.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah. That was really cool. Knight of Grace is going to get suited up with a short sword and hits the red zone. Relic Runner is a follow-up play here for Rubin. No stranger to the feature match area. I think I see him playing in it every single GP. Ooh, a Varric's Blade Wing here for Kelvin. No kicker, so it's quote-unquote just a 4/4 Flying Dragon.
Yeah, I think a lot of people get caught up with the kicker spells, thinking that they have to hold on to them till later in the game. But, I mean, cards like Varric's, 4/4 for 4, flying, why not just cast it out?
Right.
Similar thing with, say, the Allosaurus, Territorial Allosaurus. Yeah, 4 mana, 5/5. I mean, sure, if you can afford to wait, go ahead and do so. But a lot of the times it's just going to be the best creature when you cast it on curve.
Another short sword in hand, actually, for Steve. I think he's considering casting this now to get his knight be able to attack in there still. Because if that dragon chooses to wear that jousting lance.
Yeah, both players have pretty quick clocks.
Blessed Light in hand, though, for Rubin as well, so that might affect what he wants to do here.
I think Steve just wondering whether or not he wants to equip the knight or start just bashing in with the Relic Runner as well. Now remember, the Relic Runner does have unblockable his turn because he did cast one of those swords.
So he's coming in for 6. Squee going to jump in front of the Knight of Grace.
Yeah, why not gain 4 life when you're in a racing situation? Seems pretty good to me.
I mean, being immortal might just be the kind of thing that you're willing to do.
I don't know if I'd want to get stabbed multiple times over and over and over, though.
Have you seen the movie Groundhog Day? At some point, you get bored.
Ooh, looks like Kelvin can really turn on the gas here. I think a Skizzik in his hand. He could attack for 9 this turn if he wanted to.
Okay, we're just going to get in for 4 here. Squeeze coming back. I think maybe he's just deciding to say, hey, I'm just going to keep hitting you in the air. Squeeze just going to keep blocking your knight. So I don't know, do something else.
Okay. I think it might have been just like slightly better for Kelvin to play out a mountain instead of a forest just because he has Squee. But
sure.
It's not a huge deal here. Being able to cast multiple double red cards in a turn seems potentially relevant.
Knight of Grace getting in once again. Same play, same reaction from Kelvin. Squee jumps in front. Steve Rubin passes the turn back. No doubt interested in killing that Blade Wing. Or exiling, rather.
And this is probably just a turn we see Kelvin equip the Jousting Lance to the Varric's and play out the Squee again, just making the same play he's been making. Now, this is going to run into that Blessed Light from Steve, but I think Kelvin's game plan was solid here.
Yep, Blessed Light will take care of the Blade Wing. And Squee will come back.
Yeah, Kelvin's getting a little flooded, but Squee doing some overtime work.
Another Blessed Light. It's a draw there for Steve.
Very good draw. Oh,
Ooh,
baby.
Forebear's Blade. All right.
Holy moly.
Wow, this Knight of Grace. Does he have 3 arms? Is he carrying that other sword in his toes?
That's a 7/4 Vigilance Trample first strike that when it dies equips a blade to that Relic Runner. This is going to be a very quick game now.
Wow.
Yeah, there's just not much Kelvin can do here. The trample is very problematic, and the Relic Runner is eventually going to be another problem as well, even if he can deal with the Knight.
Well, Squee just continues to jump in front.
Okay, that's a good start. He found a Wizard's Lightning.
Okay.
And by good start, I mean it doesn't really matter since the Knight of Grace has 4 toughness, but... he would have... If he had drawn, like, Barrage, Goblin Barrage here, and then Wizard's Lightning, he might have had a shot, but this game's looking pretty over.
4 Bears Blade is just insane.
I don't even think it's the Blade doing the most work right now. I mean, yes, Tramples is very significant, but it's the fact that his Knight of Grace has 4 toughness because of the 2 swords.
Yeah, nothing that Kelvin can do that feels very good right here because it's just a Skizzik and a Wizard's Lightning in hand. Some lands.
Yeah, so how does Kelvin survive here? He can play the Squee from his graveyard, shoot the Relic Runner, go down to 1. Like, that's a start, and that's something that could potentially get him back in this game, but we know that Steve has the second Blessed Light in hand, and even though you don't want a Blessed Light on a Squee, what's going to happen here? Steve's going to attack with both. Kelvin's going to block the Knight, go for a shoot on the Relic Runner with the Wizard's Lightning, and then Steve, knowing that Kelvin's effectively tapped out, uses Blessed Light on the Squee to get in for trample damage. We'll see if Kelvin realizes that he should wait for the first strike damage to resolve before doing that, though.
Yeah, we've seen that before this weekend.
Exactly. Or you can just scoop him up, either way.
One way or another, Steve Rubin taking down game 1 here, round 7. This is the win and in, so that means if these players win this round, they're in to day 2. It all works out so well. Sapperling a migration here for Kelvin. Blood Tallow Candle in play for Steve.
Yeah, knowing that Steve has cards like Relic Runner in his deck, I wonder if running out the candle, if he's planning to like curve out, or if he's not really caring about that potential historic trigger.
Spore Crown Ballad is pretty nice here.
Yeah, now we see why Kelvin ran out the Sapperling Migration so early.
Ooh, I see a Merfolk Trickster in hand for Rubin.
Yeah, that's going to be fine. It's going to turn off the Thallid and allow Kelvin to at least eat one of the 1/1s now, but...
Shrink them for a little while.
Yeah. I mean, anytime your opponent plays Island or has 2 blue sources up, you have to kind of think about Trickster in this format.
All right, no third land there for Rubin. Relic Runner is the play. I mean, when you have something like Relic Runner and you're thinking about playing your Blood Tallow Candle out on turn 1, I mean, do you say to yourself, it's just worth so much more to me for me to get in those extra 2 points of damage that I play it I wait to play it until later, as opposed to not crimping myself on mana later in the game?
I mean, it's only 1 mana, so a lot of times, unless you're curving out perfectly, you're going to find a time to cast it before turn 6, or before you hit your 6 mana source to be able to activate its ability. A lot of times I like sandbagging it, just, you know, it's less information for the opponent to know about, and again, if you have historic triggers, that can sometimes be relevant.
Nabondine of Iteration here for Rubin, who continues to be constrained on land. Meanwhile, Kelvin has added a Varix Bladewing to the battlefield yet again. Able to swing in pretty freely with a 2/2 Sapperling as well.
Steve considering not blocking here because he does have a short sword in hand, which could make one of his 2/2s into a 3/3 that could profitably block, or rather, yeah, profitably block the 2/2. But
sure.
He also doesn't want to take too much damage now. He doesn't, like, being stuck on mana means the Varix is going to be a quick clock, and he's going to have to draw out of it, so preserving life is very relevant. Like, 13 versus 11 is 1 extra turn from a Varix swing.
And there's that short sword. I do believe he drew a plains this turn, but he's choosing to hide that information currently. Swinging in for 4. Or excuse me, 5. No, wait. 4 unblockable. Got there.
2 unblockable, 2 regular.
Right.
Right, yeah.
That's what I meant, I promise. Knight of Grace here.
Pretty telling that Steve had something else to do now, as not equipping the sword is a big tell, but I mean, what else are you going to do in Steve's position?
Oh, here's Goblin Barrage.
Okay. Takes care of the knight, allows Kelvin to attack in for 6 now. That does take 1 turn away from Steve, as now Varix is a 2-turn clock once again. Steve's actually winning this game, though, if he can find like a Gideon's Reproach or a Deep Freeze for that Varix. As Kelvin's out of resources, and Steve been stuck on land, so has nothing but spells in hand.
Steve is going to get in there for 3 once again, then move the short sword back over to the Merfolk Trickster, so it's able to block that Spore Crown Thallid.
Yeah, Kelvin just looking for any action. That's not exactly action.
A good card, but highly variable, as proven by this exact circumstance. Song of Fraley's in hand for Kelvin.
Yeah, he's still going to play it out because it'll eventually make the Spore Crown a little bit bigger. And if he finds another creature next turn, that creature will also benefit from the song on the turn that it finally gets its 3rd lore counter.
Steve here needs to find something, and he can't do it. Was down to 3. So Kelvin Odom able to tie things up here, heading into game 3 of the win and in. Knight of Grace, once again for Steve Rubin here, the first play of this game. Spore Crown Thallid for Odom. Odom down to 18. Knight of Grace gets in there for 2.
Another game where Steve's kind of stuck on lands. He missed his 3rd land drop there and doesn't have blue yet.
That's rough. Thallid able to get in itself, tying things up at 18 life apiece.
Oh, baby.
Sappered.
3 mana for 5 power of toughness.
Here we go.
Power and toughness, rather. Yeah. When Spore Crown does work,
it does work.
It does a lot of work.
I love that card. I almost always have to snap kill it. Rampaging Cyclops here. 4/4 for 4. Gets smaller if it's double blocked. Yeah, and Steve's just going to have to spend his turns messing around with his short sword like he did last game.
Yeah, any removal spell will probably just end the game. But otherwise, Kelvin still gets to attack for 4. And that's technically...
yeah, there we go.
That is technically a removal spell.
Icy Manipulator locks down the Knight of Grace. In comes the team from Kelvin Odom.
That's 11 damage.
Wow.
Yeah, what a beating. And there's not much Steve can do here. Even if he draws a land at this point and plays another creature.
Yeah. And these have been fine keeps, in my opinion, from Steve as well.
Yeah, I think
just
so.
Didn't work out.
Like, it's just too little too late at this point. He would need to play 2 creatures, and even then, he's not in the best of positions.
Well, he's able to do that right here with Call the Cavalry, but...
I see a Siege Gang Commander in Kelvin's hand, too.
Oof. Uh-oh. This does not look good for Steve Rubin.
All right, so what if Kelvin taps down the Knight of Grace? He can attack with Cyclops, Sap Herd, and the Saproling. He might even want to attack in with the Spore Crown. Block. And he still gets to play Siege Gang after a tap down as well, yeah.
Yuck.
I'd say ship him in and play the Siege Gang post-combat. There's just not much Steve's going to be able to do.
All right, in comes the team for Kelvin. Steve Rubin tapped out. Just the 2 knights back to block. That Spore Crown Thallid giving the Sap Herd +1/+1 as well as that Saproling.
All right, this is a good block. He's going to go to 1 life, but after the Spore Crown Thallid dies, the Sap Herd is also going to die as a result of it losing the power and toughness. And, you know, if this gives him the best opportunity to win, absolutely make that play, but we know that Kelvin has
We know what's
4
coming.
creatures that he gets to play here.
Oh, and Steve Rubin
Yep.
is going to extend the hand. Kelvin Odom wins that match 2-1 over the Pro Tour champion. And guess what? We're not done here from round 7. We've got more magic from Time Walk down in our feature match area. So we're going to take a look at that. I believe we have Craig Wesco
Okay.
versus Jim Still. And Craig had just been tweeting before this tournament, and he did a poll, actually, should I go to GP Dallas Fort Worth? And he got enough responses that said yes. So here he is. Both players, of course, on 5-1 here in the Win and In show.
Wait a minute. I don't see any planes on Craig's side
I know.
yet.
It's a matter of time. It's got to be a matter of
Okay,
time,
all right.
Kenji. Come on.
Is that an Orcish Vandal?
It sure is.
He must have a very large amount of artifacts because I don't think I've seen that card cast
I haven't.
ever in
No.
this format yet.
Ooh, this could get interesting. I do see a Jousting Lance and a Voltaic Servant in Wesco's hand.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, how many artifacts do you have to play to run Orcish Vandal as a 2-mana 1/1 with that ability?
Right. And you have to, destroy them as well.
Right.
As part of the cost.
Yeah, I mean, I would say you need at least, 7 artifacts?
Something like that.
Because the upside is just not there, you know, for, say something like Urza's Ruinous Blast, right?
Right.
I think you run that card if you have 4, maybe 5.
So is this a deck that has Tiana or Valduk?
Okay.
Because there's a Champion of the Flame right there.
Sure. That makes a lot more sense if Craig's going that heavy aggro style. You might potentially see a Chain Whirler from him as well, as he's opted to lead with triple red.
And this Champion of the Flame is pretty cool. It has Trample. It's a 1/1 with Trample, so it's a Charging Badger fame.
Sure.
But it gets +2/+2 for each or equipment attached to it.
Do it. 2 Frenzied Rage. Darn.
Dang it. Voltaic Servant,
Okay.
Jousting Lance. All right, let's see this Champion of the Flame get big.
Yeah, it
I
gets
love it.
+2/+2 for each equipment or aura attached to it. So with the Jousting Lance, it would get +4/+2. It would be a 5/3 trampling first striker.
That's pretty good for 2 mana.
Not too bad.
Cloud Reader Sphinx here for Jim Still, whose power is all in the air. That Tempest Djinn.
My bet is that Craig must have at least 4 auras and equipment if he's running the champion. That can't be feeling good if you have anything less than that. But I mean, he's 5-1. He knows what he's doing.
I love it.
This is one of the rare aggressive decks we've seen in this format. Jim looks like he's taking the more higher quality card approach.
Come now, Kenji. Once that Champion of the Flame is a 10-13.
I'm not saying it's not going to do
it's not going to do
nothing.
stuff.
I'm just saying it doesn't look like it's doing much. This might be the only turn where it's going to do anything.
All right, so it is being equipped with that Jousting Lance. That little goblin is heading to the battlefield with a long pole.
That's a human berserker, I think.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, it's not a goblin.
Oh, you're right.
Blessed by the flames of Keld and Radha, I believe.
Oh, very nice, Kenji.
Let's see. What's its flavor text? If I can find it here. Grand Warlord Radha's challengers are always defeated, but she rewards the most passionate with the flame of Keld. After that, they burn for her. There you go.
Whoa. That's brutal.
Jim's played pretty passive here. I don't think he's attacked with his Djinn yet. And it's had 3 power for, well, ever since he's cast it.
Right. Wesco's left 2 mana up, including a Plains.
Yeah, it could signify Gideon's Reproach.
Tatyova Benthic Druid here for Jim Still. Card that we saw pretty much single-handedly win a game in our first round.
And this is always the best time to play it, basically, on turn 6, or as you know, when you can play a land immediately after playing Tatyova, because the opponent doesn't have a chance to respond.
All right, well, he's already going to make good use of it. Plays a land, gains a life, draws a card.
All right, looks like Jim is still going to play passive here.
Wow.
I'm not sure if I entirely like that, as the champion can still attack.
Yeah, and Craig does have a Gideon's Reproach in hand, as well as a second Champion of the Flame.
Okay. Perhaps Jim feels that with the value of Tatyova, as long as she survives, he's going to win the long game anyways. But
Right. Champion of the Flame, doing like what it loves to do, get into battle here.
Jim didn't block last turn when Craig only had 2 mana open.
Right.
This is just a chump block. And he's still going to take 1 trample damage.
Yep.
Okay.
Even Sentry in hand as well for Wesco.
And Craig's probably just going to run out his hand here.
Yep, here we go. Second Champion of the Flame hits the table for Craig. Pass the turn back over to Jim. Grun the Lonely King in hand for Jim still.
It doesn't even block the champion right now.
We saw that attacking for 20 earlier today.
And jumping in front of, or getting jumped in front of by Saplings.
Yeah, no big deal. Sapling's like, boop. Gain a life, draw a card. Tatyova is so good. Another Cloud Reader Sphinx. And a Plains in hand for Jim as well on the splash.
Mm-hmm.
Play it out. Let's scry 2. A forest and an island.
The old bottom.
Yep.
Spirits for round 8 are now online. We'll post the paper copies.
And Jim throws it back over to Craig.
Once again,
Yeah, I think Jim's just giving Craig too much time to assemble threats with those champions.
and we're on our way to
Is this a situation where you just have to think, why is my opponent playing these? Obviously, to try and get them to be enormous attacking blockers, and probably playing a lot of equipment and auras to enable that.
Well, not even that necessarily. I think Jim has just probably missed some amount of flying attacks for 3+. That Tempest Djinn hasn't done actual anything this game.
Right.
I know I understand it's holding off kind of the Aven Sentry this turn, but
Oh, well, we can't watch the rest of this game. I want to know who won this match, though. All right, well, turns out Jim still takes down that match versus Craig Wesco. You might have heard behind us that pairings are up for round 8, so we'll be back in just a few minutes with more Magic action. But I'm kind of sad. I wanted to see what Craig's deck could put together because, if there's one person who loves putting down creatures and putting auras on them, well, it's me. All right, well, we'll have more Magic after these messages.